Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
Welcome to the Rock Review. We're catching up with the award-winning guitarist, songwriter, and music director who has worked with luminaries like Peter Wolf and Bobby Whitlock, the Yardbirds, you name it. Johnny A., thanks for joining the show.
Eric, thanks so much for having me. Hope you're doing well down there.
Doing great. You know what, Johnny? What's so incredible about you, and particularly your incredible instrumental music and everything that you do with the genre, and working with Steve Vai and so many great guitarists. But you keep bringing great music, just your latest songs that are out on video. And I know we're going to talk about what you've been doing with your Facebook. But it seems like every time I pick up Premier Guitar or Vintage Guitar magazine, you're in it.
It's funny. I didn't think that $20 went that far these days.
Well, you know what? You've been keeping so busy, man, Johnny. And I know that, last year, you kicked off the Me and My Guitars tour, sold out shows, and you had a few of your personal friends, such as Nuno, Howard Lee showing up, all these people coming to see you play.
Yeah, well, that was pretty scary. I got to tell you, and it was the first show of the tour. So the very first show was in LA. So I flew out from Boston to LA, had overnight to sleep, and then went to do the sound check. And wouldn't you know it, I go to set up my gear, the pedal board's not working.
Oh.
So I'm scrambling, trying to get this done. And not only is it, Nuno comes in and my good friend Elliot Easton, we've been friends since we've been 22. And then who walks through the door? None other but Steve Lukather. I mean, and Dave Amato was there, and like you said, Howard and Nuno, and it was like talking about being on a stage and looking out and seeing Mount Rushmore of guitar players.
But you know what? For a player at your level too, Johnny, it couldn't have thrown you off too much, because, I mean, whenever Steve Vai signed you to his label, and with all the great work you've done over the years, and then with your solo work, when you decided to go solo with your band, and now you're saying you've been playing solo by yourself for the last 3 years?
It'll be 3 years in December, yeah. It'll be 3 years that I've been doing this thing called Just Me and My Guitars, and it was originally a celebration of the British songbook of the 60s, because I'm highly influenced and inspired by, well, mostly Beatles, but a lot of that stuff is really in my fabric as a musician and the way I approach things.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's, and not to embarrass you too, but so many people have compared you to Danny Gatton over the years.
Oh, no, not me. No, I don't, Danny's up in the stratosphere.
Yeah, what I enjoy about your playing though, Johnny, and obviously your stage presence and everything with what you do is, you're able to work the chords and then also interweave the melody line and everything. So, and I know you've said it before in other interviews, you don't sing anymore, but you're giving the guitar your voice and you're doing those lines. It sounds amazing.
Trying to, I'm trying to do the best I can with what I got, Eric, and it's pretty much a style taken from, guitarists as vocalists from like the 50s, people like Chet and Les and Johnny Smith and those guys, and I usually devote myself to playing instrumental versions of vocal songs. I very rarely will cover an instrumental song. I think the only exception was my first album when I did Walk Don't Run, the Johnny Smith song that Chet also recorded in the Ventures, obviously. But most of the time I kind of commit to taking vocal songs and trying to work the guitar arrangement out in such a way that I'm recalling a lot of the hooks, whether it be background vocals, string, just little nuances of the songs to give the listener, if they're familiar with the song, a taste of the original recording.
Well, and it definitely creates your own version. I've got to bring this up for our viewers too, Johnny, with what you've been doing during this time, with like every day doing a virtual show on Facebook, and then you and your wife have this other thing going, like a cocktail thing. Talk about this.
Well, when I did my first streaming show, and it wasn't ever intentional. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to start a streaming show. I just went on one day. I was frustrated, just like everybody is, on the lockdown and all, and losing all my gigs. And I really just went on to say hi to people, and vent, and fill them in with news. And that first day, I got over 6,000 viewers. And, you know, my cousin Sue was watching. She said, well, you should do that again. I think people enjoyed it. So the next day I went on and I didn't talk. I just played.
Mhm.
And I didn't get the same viewership. And she called me up and she said, you know, you got to talk to the people, because I think they identify with the subject matter. Because my show, my stream, Eric, it's not a music show all the time. I might play 2 songs, maybe 3 songs in the 90 minutes. A lot of it is just venting. It's almost like a morning therapy session.
Wow.
With the people, you know. And it's grown to the point where over the first 28 days, I captured about 360,000 views and over 100,000 post engagements. And I do it 5 days a week, and I kind of treat it like a job. It just kind of grew organically, and I said, you know, I'm getting something out of this too, just by interfacing and talking to people about issues with my insurance company, issues with the music business, issues with that, issues with, you know, whatever, you know. And it's given me a purpose every day. I get up in the morning like it's a job, and I'm counting down. I'm just like you're counting down with this show. I'm looking for the thing to start at 10 a.m. and I go live at 10 a.m. for 90 minutes. So that's one thing I've been doing. I've done, I think, over 90 of those shows since I started.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about also what you and your wife have done together, to where you've generated money to help out the community in this time.
Well, that was something else that was just kind of like an offshoot thing too. I was on my stream one morning, and I just said to people, hey, what are you doing later? You want to come and have cocktails in my kitchen? And so, you know, all the hearts start floating up and the clapping emojis and all that stuff. So I said, okay, I'll tell you what, meet me back here at 3 o'clock, and I'll, you know, bring my wife, you know, we'll make some kind of food. And so she ended up like making a flatbread. We made some martinis or something. And that's all, that's as far as it went. And then the next day on my stream, people were like, you got to do that. We love seeing your wife, Beth. That's great. Blah, blah, blah. So the next week we did it. And I floated this idea by people. I said, hey, listen, we were thinking, would you guys, if we got a shirt designed that had cocktails in the kitchen with the A's or something, would you guys be willing to pre-order a shirt and we can donate the money to some charitable cause? And we'll research it. And overwhelmingly, people said yes. So Beth and I, my wife's name is Beth, we ended up taking pre-orders for 100 shirts. We raised $5,000. They were $50. We raised $5,000 in 2 days.
Oh my gosh.
And then, and coincidentally enough, there was this girl, a woman from Connecticut, that was watching the stream that said, I'm a graphic designer. I'd love to do a design for you. No charge. I just want to be part of helping out. So she came up with this cool design, and we sold the shirts. And, you know, out of the profit of the shirts, after I paid for all the shirts and the shipping and all that stuff, there was about $3,500 left over of the $5,000. Cost me about $1,500 to buy the shirts, get them shipped, all the postage out to people. So we donated, out of the remaining $3,500, we donated $2,500 to the Boston Food Bank of New England, the Greater Boston Food Bank.
Right.
And that food bank, for every dollar that you donate, will pay for 3 meals. So we paid 7,500 meals for that. Then one of my endorsers, Genelec Studio Monitors, Lisa Kaufman's involved with that foundation.
Right.
She saw what I did, so she donated another $1,000 in our name. So we were able to raise enough funds to provide 10,500 meals for people. And then the remaining money that we had, we gifted to the Lawrence General Memorial Hospital up here for frontline workers for masks and gloves and
so neat.
whatnot.
What incredible work, even while you're, you know, stuck at home and, you know, working in the studio and doing virtual shows, still doing some great charity work. I want to make sure too that our viewers know the best place to go to your website, your social media, everything that you've got going on now with your virtual, you know, streams that you're doing and everything else. Where should they go?
Well, the main website is JohnnyA.com, JohnnyA.com. And then, the Facebook page is, what is that one? It's facebook.com/JohnnyA.official.
Gotcha.
And it's the same thing with Instagram. It's Instagram.com/JohnnyA.official. And then Twitter is just twitter.com/JohnnyAofficial. No dot.
Well, and also with your YouTube channel, I love your versions of Time After Time, and also Here Comes the Sun. It's just great just seeing you work the guitar, Johnny. Particularly, as a solo artist as well. Considering your great past history, as a music director for so many luminaries and keeping the music alive, man. It's good to see you staying busy.
Well, at least if you start with a great song, I guess it's kind of hard to really wreck a good song. I mean, I've seen it done, but if you at least pick a great song, you got most of the battle there. So I pick songs that I just think are great songs. You can't go wrong with Jimmy Webb. You can't go wrong with Lennon McCartney. You can't, it's very hard to go wrong with that stuff. So.
Well, I can't wait to hear the new album and see some new videos coming out. Johnny A., thank you so much for joining the Rock Interview today.
Hey, listen, thank you so much for having me. And hopefully when I get down to Nashville, you'll come to the show. It won't be virtual.
Count on it. I look forward to it, Johnny.
All right, Eric. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.